right, no worries. All right, so let's just settle into our meditation posture. And if you are sitting at a desk with your feet flat on the floor, have them in a parallel position. So your toes pointing straight ahead and about a hip's width apart. And if you are sitting in the regular cross-legged position, have your sits bones raised. So you're not kind of falling back onto your sacrum. And have your hands just in a comfortable position in your lap. Shoulders are aligned with the hips. And just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light, stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So try and put some space in between your vertebrae. Head is slightly tipped forward. So just put a little bit of length in the back of the neck without constricting the throat. And bring your awareness to the crown and just relax the crown of the head. Release any tension in the scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, back of the head, back of the tongue, the ears, the inner ear, the temples, back of the neck. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, the chest, and the belly. And your limbs, hands, fingers, and feet and toes. And then just bring the mind to the breath, just noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. It's a little bit warmer as you exhale. If there are any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to follow with your mind. And then notice what's arising in the mind, what's coming up for you this morning. So if you have something on with work, or you have some kind of meeting today, or social meeting or work meeting, and your mind's already going out there, try and bring it back into this session onto the cushion. And then try and put some space in between your thoughts. So just allow whatever's arising to arise, to abide, and then don't engage. Allow it to flow on without criticism, without opinion. And just be like an objective observer. Take a step back. Some space in between your thoughts. So just imagine we're sitting on the bank of our river, watching it flow by. And how is your river this morning? Is it clear, still, flowing gently? Is it gentle on the surface and really going crazy underneath? Is it muddy? But while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from the river. So bring to mind all the people of our lives, your life, your loved ones, spouses, children, best friends, work colleagues, these people who are really dear to our hearts, who are profound for us in our lives. And then we have those folk in our lives who are difficult for us. Sometimes we wish they weren't there. And then there's our strangers. These people we meet every day on the road, in the supermarket. And we don't think much about them. We don't think about their lives terribly much. Most of the time we just couldn't care less. But interestingly enough, these three groups of people can change place at any time. Regardless of how we feel about them all, actually they're equal to each other and they're equal to us, because they have this profound wish to be happy, just like you and me. And they have this very strong desire to avoid suffering. And we do it every day. Even we sit on a chair for too long, we get uncomfortable, we shift. We're avoiding discomfort. And naturally so. But we're all the same in this wish. And we all have this unbelievable wish for capacity, for enlightened mind. We'll do this practice this morning for the benefit of all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings, and for ourselves as we're moving along our spiritual path. So this particular meditation comes from the text called the Lamrim, which is the graduated path to enlightenment. It's another name for it is light on the path. So it's a gradual discovery from very kind of basic concepts to more complicated concepts further on. So here we're in the beginning part where we think about death. So actually it's, we spend a lot of time avoiding thinking about, talking about death in our lives. You know, you want to be present in this life. We don't want to be talking about something that's very, very far down the track. But actually, it's really good to prepare. It makes sense to prepare. And sometimes we don't even think about death until we start creating wills or living wills and things like this. So death can happen at any time. So you don't have to be having some kind of really serious disease, thinking that you might die tomorrow, to have a family member maybe die before you. Because we could just walk out into the street, be looking in the wrong direction, get hit. So it just depends. You never know what your karma is going to be. There's no need to regard death with fear or sorrow. It can be actually a blissful experience. It can be an enlightening experience. But whether or not it is depends on how we live every day, every moment of our life. So being aware of death rather than being morbid during our life helps us to stay in the present. So it helps us with focusing with a more stable mind to be more content and try and make the best use of our lives. So we're going to, these 9 points are subsumed under 3 main points. Death is definite. The time of death is uncertain. And the only thing that's going to be able to help you at the time of your death is what's in your mind. So that would be your spiritual path, the work you've done. So as we move into this meditation, try and let go of thoughts of the past and of the future. And make a determination, a decision, to keep your mind focused on the meditation topic for the duration of this session. So have your mind relaxed and fully concentrated. You can focus on the breath if you wish. And we'll contemplate the following points, and you can bring in your own experiences and insights, as well as things that you may have heard or read. Try and think about each point deeply. And if at any time during the session you reach a strong intuitive experience of the point we're examining, hold that feeling with your attention. So the inevitability of death. Death is certain. So we do plan many activities and projects for coming days, coming months and years. And although death is the only event that is certain to occur, we don't think about it or really plan for it, particularly when we're younger. And even if the thought of death does arise in our minds, we push it away very quickly. And we don't want to really think about death. So we'll contemplate the following 3 points to get a sense that death is definitely going to happen to you. So everyone has to die. So to get an idea of the inevitability of death, bring to mind people from the past, famous people, writers, musicians, philosophers, saints, scientists, criminals, ordinary folk. These people were once alive, they worked, they thought, they wrote, they loved, they enjoyed life, and they suffered, and they died. Is there anyone who ever lived who did not end up having to die? No matter how wise, how wealthy, how powerful or popular, their life must come to an end. And the same is true for all living creatures. No one has yet found a cure for death, and no one ever will. Even Buddha had to die. Now bring to mind all the people you know who have already died, and think of the people you know who are still alive, and contemplate that every one of them will die, and so will you. So there's several billion people on the planet right now. And in 100 years from now, all of these people, with the exception of a few who are now very young, will be gone. So all of us here will most likely, well, in 100 years' time, all of us here will be gone. So try and get a sense of that fact. And the house you're in might still be here. The second point in death is definite, is your lifespan is decreasing continuously. Time never stands still. It's constantly passing. Seconds become minutes, minutes become hours, hours, days, days, years. And as time is passing in this way, you travel closer and closer towards death. The time you have to live is like grains of sand, continually running out, grains of that sand through an hourglass. If you were to fall out of an airplane without the parachute, you would be very aware of the ground coming up towards you. So imagine this is actually happening to you and check what thoughts and feelings pass through your mind. The reality of our situation in life is not so different. We're constantly moving towards death. And we can't do anything really to avoid it, postpone it. The amount of time spent during our lives to develop our minds is very small. Given that the mind alone continues after death, the only thing that will be of any value when you die is the positive and constructive energy you've created during your life. But how much time do you actually devote to understanding your mind, being kind to others, developing wisdom and compassion? In an average day, how many hours do you sleep? How many hours do you work? How many hours do you spend preparing food, eating, socializing? How much time do you spend feeling depressed, frustrated, bored, angry, resentful, jealous, lazy, critical? And how much time do you spend consciously trying to improve your mind? And do these calculations honestly and assess your life in this practical way to see clearly just how much of your time is spent doing things that truly benefit yourself and others, that will be helpful for your mind at the time of death and in the next life. And just by meditating on these 3 points, these first 3 points, you should be able to develop some kind of determination to use your life wisely and mindfully. And I think TikTok's become a rabbit hole. Instagram, Facebook can be a rabbit hole for all of us. So think about how much time is spent there if you do that. So death is certain. The time of death, however, is uncertain. If human beings died at a specific age, say 80, 90, we would have plenty of time and space to prepare for death, but there's no such certainty. And death catches most of us by surprise. You know, when you hear of someone who's passed away, I only just saw them this morning. I just talked to them last week. I hear that all the time. I say it myself. And life can end at any point. As a baby, as an adolescent, as a young person. So think of people you knew, have heard of, who died before they reached the age you are now at. There was a grocery store owner. These little corner stores in San Francisco, and his was quite popular. He was in an area where it's quite busy. He'd been there for many, many years, many decades. He sold fruit and, pharmacy things, cleaning stuff. I mean, it was one of those kinds of stores. Everything was there. And he went down to pick up some supplies. And he just walked across the street and got hit by a car and died. And that sent shockwaves through the community because he was such a presence there. No one expected him to die that day, and he didn't most likely expect to die that day. So being young and healthy is no guarantee that a person will live a long time. Healthy people can die before those who are suffering from terminal illnesses such as cancer. We can only hope to live until we are 80 or 90, but we can't be certain that we're going to do so. We cannot even be certain that we might die later on today. It's difficult to feel convinced that death could happen at any moment. Thousands of people die every day, and few of them had expected to. So try and generate a strong feeling of the complete uncertainty of your own time of death, how there is simply no guarantee that you have a long time to live. There are many causes of death. There's natural disasters. There's viruses. There's car accidents. People having ill intent towards you. There are also cases of people who are not ill, but something goes wrong with their body and they suddenly die, or they die in their sleep. My very dearest friend from kindergarten was walking down the street during the pandemic and just dropped to the pavement. Gone. She had an aneurysm. Bring to mind cases of people you know have died or we've heard have died, and think of how they died, and think that any of these things could happen to you as well. Our human body is very fragile. We're vulnerable. As we all knew from the pandemic, how vulnerable we all were. Before we knew what we needed to do to protect ourselves, we were all extremely vulnerable. Within minutes, our body can change from being strong and active to being helpless and weak. And so right now, all of us might feel healthy and energetic and secure, but something as small as a virus could harm you, drain your health, strength, and lead to death. And recall the times that you have been hurt or injured, and how easily it could have happened again, how easily it could happen again, and how something could have led to your death. I remember one time I was crossing the street in London. I was looking the wrong way and I stepped out and someone very kindly pulled me back. That could have been the end of me. Your body won't last forever. So we can all see changes in our body. Through our life, we manage to avoid illness and accidents, but the years will eventually overtake us. Our bodies are degenerating, they're losing their beauty, their vitality, and finally will pass away. So this last 3 points, we will develop the determination to begin our work of mind transformation right now, as the future is so uncertain. So this last point, we've actually run out of time. This is that only any spiritual insight can help you at the time of death. So, I'll just go through it very quickly. Your friends can't help you. Your loved ones can't help you. The only thing that's going to benefit you at the time of your death is the positive states of mind that are in there. Calm acceptance of the changes that are taking place, loving kindness, compassion, patience, and wisdom. But in order to be able to have such states of mind at the time of death, we need to make ourselves familiar with them during the course of our life. And this is the essence of a spiritual practice. So realizing this will give us the incentive to start doing this spiritual practice now, this work now, and to practice as much as we can while we still have time, while we're still functioning, while we can still think and memory. We have a memory that works. We have a body that moves. So don't wait until you're sort of all of a sudden you realize you are dying to start working on your mind. It will be too late then. So we start now, slowly, humbly, gracefully, working on our minds, calming it down, developing kindness and wisdom and compassion. So let's just dedicate with the optimistic thought that you have every possibility to make your life meaningful and positive, and thus will be able to die with a peaceful state of mind. And you can also dedicate this same peaceful state of mind at the time of death for all living beings and all those people of your life. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll go into that in a little bit more depth on Sunday. And we'll also, where am I? Here I am. If you wish. It was sort of wished for by Hin. So we're going to focus on, even though it's Easter, we'll be focusing on these kinds of things on the weekend. And then we'll also do the death process. There's a beautiful meditation on the process of death. And then if we have time, the Om Ahom meditation again of Lama Yeshe. All right, everybody, take care. Lots of love. And I will see you tonight, some of you. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your attention. Okay, bye, everyone.